Jax's revenge domain. The transfer papers hit my desk with the sound of a man enjoying himself way too much. Richard Hayes stood there with this smirk that told me everything I needed to know about what was coming next. Rodriguez, effective Monday. You're relocating to West Valley Steel. West Valley. The plant everyone knew was circling the drain. 45 guys about to lose their jobs, and now I was supposed to be the one to turn off the lights. My name's Jason Rodriguez, 48 years old, and I'd been running manufacturing operations for 15 years after getting out of the Army. I thought I'd seen every dirty trick in corporate America, but this one was new. The rain was hammering the windows of our downtown office, and I could feel every eye in the place watching to see how I'd take it. West Valley closes in 90 days, I said, keeping my voice steady. What exactly am I supposed to manage there? Richard leaned in close enough that only I could hear him. Think of it as an opportunity to update your resume. Good luck. The way he said it, like he was doing me a favor, made my jaw clench. See, this wasn't random. 3 weeks ago, I'd stood up in the quarterly review and called out Richard's plan to ship our operations overseas. I had the numbers, the projections, the whole 9 yards showing how his outsourcing deals were more about his bonus than company profits. Made him look like an amateur in front of the executive team. Now I was paying for it. That evening, sitting at my kitchen table with bills spread out in front of me, the reality hit harder than the humiliation. My mortgage was already underwater after Sarah's medical bills last year. Emma's college tuition was due in 8 months. At 48, starting over wasn't just about pride anymore. It was about keeping my family's head above water. Monday morning came with clear skies and a sick feeling in my stomach. West Valley Steel sat in an industrial park that had seen better days, probably back when I was still doing supply runs in Kuwait. The sign out front was faded, and half the parking lot was cracked asphalt and weeds. Inside, the place looked like a manufacturing museum from the 1990s. 5 people looked up when I walked in. These weren't fresh college kids. These were guys who'd been making things with their hands for decades, and they all had that same look, like they were already counting down their last days. I'm Jason, I said, setting my box down on the nearest workbench. Apparently, I'm your new plant manager. Carl, the senior machinist with gray hair and hands that looked like they'd built half the cars in America, stepped forward. Been here 16 years. Nobody told us they were sending someone new. Waste of your time, honestly. He was 2 years from retirement, and I could see the worry in his eyes about his pension. He pointed toward a small office with glass walls covered in dust. That's yours, I guess. Previous manager cleaned out Friday. The office was depressing. Old training manuals nobody had, touched in years, empty filing cabinets, and a desk covered in dust, thick enough to write your name in. But there was a stack of papers in the corner that caught my attention. Government contract notifications that had been sitting there unopened. By lunch, I understood the whole picture. This place had been systematically starved to death. Equipment maintenance requests denied for years. Their marketing budget eliminated 18 months ago. Quality certifications allowed to lapse because the plant was closing anyway. But here's what corporate missed. This team of 5 was still producing precision parts for 75 customers who refused to switch suppliers. These weren't fly-by-night accounts either. These were contracts that had been running for decades. Most of our work is automotive, Tony explained, showing me production reports that headquarters apparently never bothered to read. He'd been doing quality control for 23 years and knew every specification by heart. But we've got the specialized equipment for precision work that nobody else in the region has. Jennifer, the night shift supervisor who was studying engineering part-time, added, "The equipment's old, but it's maintained better than anything in the newer plants. We do our own maintenance because corporate stopped funding outside service calls." Scott, who'd been handling maintenance for 12 years, nodded. "Every machine in here can hold tolerances that the new automated lines can't touch. It's all about knowing what you're doing." Lisa, our safety coordinator who'd been here 8 years, was quiet, but I could tell she was thinking. She had contacts throughout the region from her previous job with the state. That night, I couldn't sleep. The whole thing stank. Richard had sent me here to fail, to quietly process paperwork until the doors closed. But something was bugging me about those unopened contract notifications. I pulled them out and started reading. That's when it hit me like a freight train. The Department of Defense was looking for domestic manufacturers for a $5.2 million precision parts contract, with options for an additional $12 million over 3 years. The RFP had been sitting on that desk for 3 weeks, and the bid deadline was 60 days out. These weren't just any parts. They were exactly the kind of high-tolerance components our equipment was designed for. I called my buddy Martinez, who'd gotten out of the Army and gone into defense contracting. "Jason, you sitting down?" he said when I described our capabilities. "There are maybe 3 facilities in the Midwest that can handle that spec. If you can prove your quality systems, that contract's yours." The next morning, I was waiting when Carl showed up to open the plant. "I need to understand something," I said, pointing to the machinery. "How much of this equipment is still functional?" "All of it," Carl replied, sounding almost offended. "We maintain everything ourselves. Tony's been doing quality control longer than some of these companies have been in business." I showed him the defense contract documents. His weathered face went through several expressions as he read: confusion, then understanding, then something that looked like hope he was trying not to feel. "Jason, this is a $5.2 million contract. We're 5 people in a plant that's supposed to close in 90 days, with expansion options worth another $12 million over 3 years," I added. "Carl, how many companies in this region can machine parts to these tolerances?" He studied the specifications again, running calculations in his head that came from decades of experience. Maybe 2 or 3, and they're all booked solid with commercial work. He looked up at me. "You're serious about this?" "Dead serious. But I need to know if you're in." Carl was quiet for a long moment. I knew what he was thinking. 2 years from retirement, pension on the line, and here's some new manager with a crazy scheme that could either save the plant or make their last months even worse. "My father worked in this plant for 30 years, he finally said. "Taught me everything I know about machining. If there's a chance to keep this place alive," he stuck out his hand, "I'm in." By the time the rest of the team arrived, we had the beginnings of a plan. I gathered everyone in the break room, the same room where they'd probably expected to get their pink slips in a few weeks. "I'm going to tell you something that might sound impossible," I started, spreading the contract documents on the table. "The Department of Defense is looking for a domestic supplier for precision parts, the kind of parts we've been making here for 15 years. Tony leaned forward to study the specs. "These tolerances, this is serious work, military grade." Jennifer looked up from her own review. "The certification requirements alone, ISO 9001, AS 9100, ITAR compliance. We'd need to document everything, prove our quality systems. That's where you come in," I said. "You're studying engineering. You understand the documentation requirements better than anyone." Scott, who'd been quiet, spoke up. "The equipment can handle it. I know every machine in this place like it's my own car. Give me 2 weeks and I can have everything running at specifications that'll make the inspectors happy." Lisa, our safety coordinator, was taking notes. "I still have contacts at the state level from my previous job. They can help expedite some of the certification paperwork." I could see it starting to click for them. Not just the opportunity, but the possibility that they might actually pull this off. "What about corporate?" Tony asked. "They're not going to like us going around them, which is why we don't tell them until we have something concrete to show," I said. "As far as they know, we're processing an orderly closure." Jennifer raised her hand like she was in class. "I have access to CAD software through the college. We can do all the design work and documentation there." Over the next week, something amazing happened. These 5 people who'd been resigned to losing their jobs transformed into the most focused team I'd ever worked with. Carl started rebuilding our measurement systems to military standards. Tony created quality control procedures that would make a Swiss watchmaker proud. Jennifer worked nights at the college, creating the technical documentation we'd need for certification. Scott somehow found time to completely overhaul our precision equipment while maintaining regular production. Lisa coordinated with state and federal agencies, cutting through red tape that usually took months. But Richard wasn't sitting still. The first sign of trouble came Thursday morning when our internet connection mysteriously went down. "Routine maintenance," the IT guy explained, but he couldn't look me in the eye when he said it. Friday, our access to the corporate quality management system was temporarily suspended for updates. Monday brought the real blow. An email from Richard requiring all West Valley staff to attend transition planning sessions downtown. Daily meetings, 1 to 4 p.m., starting immediately. He knows, Carl said, reading over my shoulder. Someone's feeding him information. The team looked deflated. 4 hours a day in corporate meeting rooms would kill our momentum just when we were making real progress. Carl and I will handle the meetings, I decided. The rest of you focus on the contract prep. If anyone asks where you are, you're maintaining equipment for the existing customer base. Those transition meetings were corporate torture designed by someone who'd clearly never worked with his hands. 4 hours of PowerPoint presentations about change management and career pivoting. Richard made sure to single me out every day, asking how I was adapting to my new role with that same satisfied smirk. Meanwhile, our real team was making incredible progress. Jennifer had completed the quality manual and was working on technical drawings. Scott had our precision equipment running better than it had in years. Tony was calibrating measurement systems that exceeded military specifications, but we had a bigger problem brewing. Wednesday afternoon, I got back from another pointless corporate meeting to find Lisa looking worried. "Jason, we need to talk," she said, pulling me aside. I was coordinating with the Defense Logistics Agency about our certification timeline. They mentioned that another company submitted preliminary paperwork for the same contract. "Competition's expected," I said. "Not competition. Riverside Manufacturing. Richard's brother-in-law owns 30% of that company." The pieces suddenly clicked into place. Richard wasn't just trying to close our plant. He was steering the defense contract to a company he had a financial interest in. Our little guerrilla operation wasn't just threatening his ego anymore. It was threatening his wallet. That night, I called Martinez to get the inside scoop on Riverside. "Jason, you need to be careful," he warned. "Riverside's got connections, but their quality control is questionable. They've had 3 contracts reviewed for compliance issues in the past 2 years. Problem is, they bid low and worry about meeting specs later. Can they handle these tolerances? On paper, maybe. In reality, they'd probably subcontract the precision work to someone like your plant," which gave me an idea. A dangerous, career-ending idea that might just save us all. Friday morning, I called an emergency team meeting before the corporate vultures could swoop in for another day of transition planning. "Here's what we're dealing with," I said, laying out everything Martinez had told me about Riverside Manufacturing. "Richard's not just trying to close us down, he's steering our contract to a company that'll pay him back under the table." Carl's jaw tightened. "Son of a bitch. No wonder he's been sabotaging every improvement we've made here for the past 2 years. Jennifer looked up from her laptop. "That's illegal, right? Conflict of interest?" "Absolutely," I said. "But proving it and surviving long enough to do something about it are 2 different problems." Tony leaned back in his chair. "So what's this dangerous idea you mentioned?" I took a deep breath. "We don't just submit a competing bid. We document everything. The sabotage, the conflict of interest, the systematic destruction of this plant. Then we present it all at once, in a way that forces corporate to choose between covering for Richard or saving face publicly." Scott looked skeptical. "How exactly do we do that without getting fired before we can finish?" "By going completely off the grid," I said. "No company systems, no company communications. We finish this project using only external resources, then present everything as a complete package." Lisa nodded slowly. "My contacts at the state level have been asking questions about the plant closure. They're concerned about the economic impact on the community. If we could show them evidence of corruption—" "That's exactly what I'm thinking," I said. "We need allies outside the company structure." Over the weekend, we became a team operating in the shadows. Jennifer moved all our documentation to secure servers at the college. Carl and Tony worked nights to complete prototype parts using only the machine time that wouldn't show up on corporate monitoring. Scott borrowed calibration equipment from other plants in the network, equipment that technically belonged to the company but had been sitting unused while our requests were denied. Lisa reached out to her contacts at the State Economic Development Office, explaining our situation without revealing company specifics. What she learned made our mission even more urgent. The state's been planning to showcase West Valley as part of a Made in America manufacturing initiative, she reported Monday morning. They had no idea corporate was planning to close us. When I mentioned the defense contract possibility, they got very interested. Meanwhile, the corporate pressure was intensifying. Richard had moved our closure date up by 2 weeks, claiming accelerated timeline for facility transition. Our mandatory meetings increased to 6 hours a day. The message was clear. He wanted us too exhausted and demoralized to cause trouble. But something else was happening that Richard couldn't see. Word was spreading through the local manufacturing network about what we were trying to do. Suppliers who'd worked with us for years started offering support. Tommy's machine shop offered to handle overflow work for free. Peterson Steel provided raw materials at cost. "It's not just about your plant," Tommy explained when I tried to thank him. "If they can kill a facility like yours with this kind of dirty dealing, none of us small manufacturers are safe." The community was rallying in ways that reminded me of my army days. When you're under attack, the people who understand the stakes circle the wagons. Wednesday brought our biggest break yet. Jennifer, working late at the college, discovered something in Riverside's public filing records. "Jason, you need to see this," she said, excitement clear in her voice. Riverside Manufacturing filed for a building permit 6 weeks ago to construct a new facility specifically designed for defense contract work. 6 weeks ago, before the RFP was even published. The implications hit me like a truck. They knew about the contract before it went public. "Gets better," Jennifer continued. "The permit application includes detailed specifications that match our RFP exactly. Someone gave them inside information." Carl whistled low. "That's not just conflict of interest. That's conspiracy. This changed everything. We weren't just competing for a contract anymore. We were potentially stopping a criminal conspiracy that went to the heart of defense procurement corruption." Thursday morning, I made a decision that would either save our plant or end my career permanently. Instead of attending Richard's mandatory meeting, I drove to the state capitol. The meeting at the Economic Development Office was everything I'd hoped for. When I laid out the evidence, the systematic sabotage, the conflict of interest, the inside information, Assistant Director Patricia Wells took notes with the intensity of someone who understood the bigger picture. "Mr. Rodriguez, this goes beyond one plant closure. If what you're alleging is true, it represents a significant threat to defense procurement integrity. What we need," I said, "is 48 hours to complete our bid and present everything as a package. The technical proposal, the evidence of corruption, and the community impact analysis. And what do you need from us? Protection. Richard will try to shut us down the moment he realizes what we're doing. If the state's Economic Development Office is officially reviewing our situation, he can't touch you without looking like he's interfering with a state investigation," she finished. "I understand." That afternoon, Richard called an emergency meeting for all West Valley staff. His face was red when we arrived, and I could see he knew something was wrong. "I've learned that certain individuals have been engaging in unauthorized activities," he announced, his eyes fixed on me. "Effective immediately, West Valley Steel operations are suspended pending investigation." Carl stepped forward. "Investigation of what exactly?" "Misuse of company resources and unauthorized contact with outside agencies." That's when Lisa played our ace. "Actually, Mr. Hayes, we're in compliance with state notification requirements for plant closures. Assistant Director Wells asked us to provide complete documentation of our capabilities assessment. We're simply responding to a state request." Richard's face went from red to pale. He knew he'd been outmaneuvered. "This conversation isn't over," he said, but his voice had lost its confident edge. As he stormed out, Tony grinned. "Now what?" "Now," I said, "we have 48 hours to finish what we started." The next 48 hours became the most intense period of my professional life. We converted the plant into a 24-hour operation, with team members working in shifts to complete our prototype parts while documenting every step for the technical proposal. Carl worked through the night Wednesday, machining components to tolerances that exceeded military specifications. "If we're going to do this," he said, checking measurements for the dozenth time, "we're going to do it right." Jennifer coordinated between the plant and college, creating documentation that would satisfy the most demanding auditor. Her engineering professors had volunteered to review our quality systems, essentially giving us university backing for our technical approach. Tony assembled a quality control portfolio that traced our capabilities back 15 years, showing consistent precision work that most facilities couldn't match. Scott completed equipment calibration that proved our machinery was actually more accurate than newer automated systems. Lisa coordinated with the State Economic Development Office, ensuring our submission would be backed by official state support for the manufacturing initiative. Thursday evening, everything came together. Our technical proposal was complete. Our prototype parts exceeded specifications. Our documentation was bulletproof. But most importantly, Jennifer had uncovered the smoking gun. "Jason, I've been digging deeper into Riverside's permits," she said, excitement clear in her voice. The construction permit was filed the same day Richard attended a Defense Logistics Agency planning meeting. The meeting minutes are public record. I studied the documents. Richard had attended a closed-door briefing about upcoming defense contracts, then his brother-in-law's company filed permits within hours. The timeline was damning. This isn't just conflict of interest, I realized. This is criminal conspiracy to defraud the government. Friday morning brought the presentation that would determine everything. The conference room at the State Economic Development Office was packed. Assistant Director Wells sat at the head of the table, flanked by representatives from the Defense Logistics Agency. George Parker, our CFO, had driven down personally when he learned about the state's involvement. And in the corner, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, sat Richard Hayes. "Gentlemen," Wells began, "we're here to review West Valley Steel's proposal for Defense Contract 2024-MP-7731 and to address certain concerns that have been raised about the procurement process." I stood to present, my team arranged behind me. For the next hour, we laid out everything. The technical capabilities, the prototype parts that exceeded specifications, the cost projections that beat Riverside's bid by 15%. Then came the bombshell. "There's something else you need to know," I said, placing Richard's meeting records on the table. Riverside Manufacturing received inside information about this contract before the RFP was published. The Defense Logistics Agency representative looked up sharply. "That's a serious allegation." Jennifer stepped forward with her documentation. The timeline was irrefutable. Richard's attendance at the classified briefing, the permit filing, the pre-positioned facility construction. George Parker's face went through several expressions as he read the evidence. Finally, he looked at Richard. "Is this true?" Richard tried to bluster. "These are disgruntled employees making false accusations to save their jobs." "Then explain this," Wells said, producing a recorded phone conversation. "The state has been investigating irregularities in defense contracting for 6 months. Your conversations with Riverside executives were monitored as part of that investigation." The room went dead silent. The Defense Logistics Agency representative stood. "Mr. Hayes, you're looking at federal charges for conspiracy to defraud the government. This meeting is over." As Richard was escorted out, George Parker turned to our team. "Mr. Rodriguez, it appears your plant won't be closing after all." 3 months later, I was sitting in the same conference room where this all started, but the view looked completely different. West Valley Steel had not only won the $5.2 million contract, but received the full $12 million expansion option. We'd hired 35 new workers and were training apprentices from the local technical college. Carl had been promoted to master machinist and training supervisor, leading the apprentice program that would ensure our skills passed to the next generation. At 64, instead of worrying about his pension, he was building a legacy. Tony became our quality control manager for the entire regional division, with his precision standards being adopted company-wide. Jennifer finished her engineering degree with full company sponsorship and was now our manufacturing engineering supervisor. Scott was promoted to plant maintenance director, responsible for equipment standards across 3 facilities. Lisa became our government relations coordinator, working directly with state and federal agencies on compliance. As for me, George Parker offered me Richard's old job as regional manufacturing director. My first assignment was identifying other facilities with untapped potential that desk-bound executives had written off. The personal impact went beyond job titles. My mortgage was current for the first time in 2 years. Emma's college fund was fully funded. Sarah's medical bills were finally paid off. And the stress that had been killing our marriage was gone. The community impact was even bigger. West Valley Steel became the anchor for what the state now called the Manufacturing Renaissance Zone. 6 other companies relocated to our industrial park, drawn by the skilled workforce and proven capabilities. Richard Hayes, he plea bargained his federal charges down to 18 months and a $250,000 fine. Riverside Manufacturing lost their defense contractor certification and folded within 6 months. Sometimes I think about those transfer papers that started this whole thing. Richard thought he was burying me in a dying plant. Instead, he gave me the chance to prove what American manufacturing could accomplish when corporate politics got out of the way. The best revenge isn't destroying your enemy. It's proving them wrong in ways they can never undo. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening to my story. It's proof that experience and determination can beat corruption and politics when you're fighting for something that matters. And sometimes the plants that look dead are just waiting for the right team to bring them back to life. In the end, it wasn't about saving a plant or winning a contract. It was about proving that American workers, given a fair chance and proper support, can build anything better than anyone else in the world. That's something worth fighting for. When you've got decades of real experience under your belt, never let some corporate climber with an MBA and no calluses on his hands tell you what's impossible, because they don't know what they don't know. The guys who've been in the trenches with you aren't just co-workers, they're your brothers in arms. And when you stand together against the system, that loyalty becomes a weapon no amount of corporate politics can defeat.